Hello everyone, welcome back to another draft video here on the channel. Today we're going to be looking at a flashback draft of Dominaria United. This set came out almost 2 years ago, I think 2 years ago, and it's one of my favorite limited formats of all time, so I just want to run a draft, talk to you all, have some fun, hopefully get some wins and some rank, and continue improving as a player. Let's hop into a draft. Okay, found a table. It took about 4 minutes to get here. It's crazy. People must not like this format as much as I do, but I love this format. Now let's just hope that everyone who waited in the long line with me to draft some Dominaria United gets in over here. Okay, sweet. So the interesting thing about this format is that you can kind of do a lot of crazy different things. So for starters, there's a really good aggro deck in the white-red deck. Domain is really good because you have these land slots at common that are both typal lands, just enter tap. And there's also a really fun defender deck. You can pick up Wingmantle Chaplain, the white uncommon. But starting this draft, we're going to pick a Sprouting Goblin. Another thing of this set is that it has a off-color kicker on a lot of its cards, but this card's a 2-mana 2/2 that if you pay a green alongside with it, you can find a basic. You can find any card with a basic land type. So you can find one of these duels here that just has Island, Swamp, you know, whatever basic type on it, and put it into your hand. So this is a really good start for a Domain here. And in the late game, when you're just flooded out, you can also just pay red and sack lands to just pick up stuff. So I'm pretty happy with this card. I really like Talus, Lookout, and Vine Wall. If you're into the aggro thing, take up the shield. Sulphurous Spring is actually not as good as it looks because it doesn't have these land types that we're interested in. So we're going to pass on that as our rare. Ooh, another one of my favorite cards in the set here with these off-color kickers. Cleaving Skyrider. This is an interesting card that I want to talk about too, because like I just mentioned, white-red is a aggressive deck that exists in this format, but I think this card is actually good in the 5-color domain decks too, because it's just a 2-mana or 3-mana 2/2 flash flyer ambusher that you can flash an end of turn. But if you do get the kicker, even on defense, it's good since it just looks at the number of attacking creatures. They don't have to be the ones you control. So this is going to be the pick. You would like to see Lightning Strike as well, but I think this card is good, especially if we end up going into that white-red aggro deck. Next up here, there is a couple of interesting cards here. I think the ones that we're going to focus on the most is Impulse here. This card is just really good to cast at the end of your opponent's turn because there's a couple good counter spells at 2-mana in this set too that are really good. And other than that, I think we're going to start looking at these lands here. This white-black land doesn't do a ton for us yet, other than the fact that we do have a white card. But if we end up going into some sort of white-black deck and we want to splash the Cleaving Skyrider kicker, or say we're in the white-red deck and we want to splash a black kicker off of a red card or a white card, you won't be too mad picking up this card. So I think for that reason, we're going to pick up the Sunlit Marsh. All right, from here, I think we're going to go for a pretty similar plan of action here. I just really love picking up these lands as early as possible. Now the question is, do I care more about the Radiant Grove or the Idyllic Beachfront? I think I care more about the Grove because I already have the green kicker here in the Sprouting Goblin, and I don't have any reason to pick up a blue card just yet. So let's pick up Radiant Grove, which will allow us to kick the Sprouting Goblin, hopefully, and look at our next pack. So Citizen's Arrest is a really good card here, for the most part. The only issues with this card, being an O-ring that comes in and exiles a creature that your opponent controls, is that A, it's double white, which is really hard to cast in these multicolored decks, and B, there is a really good removal spell in Destroy Evil in white that can get rid of this sometime later in the game and be annoying for that same reason. I might just want to take the land here, but Citizen's Arrest is a really good piece of removal. This is a tough one. Twin Inferno is also worth considering, but I don't really... This card's just too gimmicky for me. I think we're going to take... I think it's correct for us to take Citizen's Arrest here. We can be a base white domain deck, or we can be a white aggro deck if we need to be. So, here's an interesting little pick here. There's two pretty good white cards here if we want to do like white aggro stuff. Joint Exploration is kind of nifty too. Scry 2, draw a card, a little cantrip here, and then you can pay green to put a land on. Pretty good. I think for our money though, we're just gonna have to probably pick. I think we should stick to our roots and stay white here. This is a 2-mana 2/2 that if you kick it with green, you can put a counter on something, even itself. So it can either be a 2-mana 2/2 just base, or a 2-mana or 3-mana 2/2 that puts a counter on something. Could be itself. We'll take that as our pick. All right. Another really good part about this set here is there's these cost reduction cards. These help tie a deck together really, really nicely. So this card may be 6 mana, but you're hopefully casting it for only 3 or 4 if you have enough creatures on the board. So we're going to take the Argavian Phalanx and hope to be in kind of some like white aggressive deck here. And actually a really good follow-up to that is Captain's Call, in the sense that it works well with some of the cards we've already picked. Cleaving Skyrider can get some extra damage points in. It makes the cost of the Phalanx cheaper, and there's not really much else for us in this pack. Maybe the Vanquisher's Axe is actually a pretty fine card in an aggressive deck, but we're going to take Captain's Call. All right, so we get the choice of either another Root Weaver or probably this land here. And I think we're going to take the land, mainly because this card is mostly replaceable in terms of 2-drops, and we don't know what our second color is yet, so if we end up in a white-blue deck, then I think we'll be happy to have that. So this is an interesting turning point. There's not really any aggressive cards in here. This white card deals damage to a tapped creature, equal to Domain. So it's just with our color, and either that or the Branch Rider. I think we're going to take the Blast and try and be a little more controlling. Ooh, look at these for a late pick here. We do have a couple good cards for us in this Vanguard that pumps your creatures. Really good with the Captain's Call that goes wide. But we also have this card here, this Tura Sky Knight here, that is a flyer that makes a 1/1 every time you cast an instant or sorcery. Let's just spec on this for a second. All right, even more white cards coming back. This promotes a go wide game plan, and it's an instant or sorcery if we wanted to play the Sky Rider. So let's try and pick this up. Again, that 2-drop is mostly replaceable. I don't really like the turtle here if we're going to end up in white-blue, so we're just going to take that and probably not play it. Oh no. Am I supposed to do it? Oh, this Jodah the Unifier. So gives Legends +X+X. It's like a super anthem, a super lord, where it gives +X+X, where X is the number of legend you control. If you cast this card or another legendary, I guess it has to be from your hand, you get to cascade for another legend. We only have one other legend in the deck, being this this is a legend. So I've always wanted to draft with this card, so we just have to get towards making it work. We have the Goblin too to help try and get us, so we're just going to pick up a lot of legends as we see them. And Cruelty of Gix is busted in half. This is one of the best cards in the format, only behind like Shieldred, and that might be it. So we're going to take Cruelty of Gix. This card is ridiculous, and maybe try and get into white-black here. Interesting. So here's that Wingmantle Chaplain, but I think we're a little late on that. So we need to try and get some more legends and just control the game until we can cast Jodah here. But to do that, also we need to have ins to all 5 colors. We need to have effectively Domain to cast this. So I think we have to take lands very highly. And it looks like we'll probably get something we want back out of this pack if we do end up in white-black to try and cast this Cruelty of Gix. Here's another Cleaving Skyrider, but I think for our money, it's still just good to take lands here. This is a double red card, which I'm not super interested in casting just yet, especially because we already have a bunch of other double cards that aren't red. So these double pip cards are quite dangerous when you get into the kind of splashy Domain land. So the other consideration is just the Skyrider, which is a fine card. But again, I want to make sure that our Jodah is castable, and this gives us a red pip, basically somewhere down the line. And here's Airtie Resurrected is actually a legend for starters, and it's a fine card in limited. It's a lot better in constructed when you can like counterspell and tempo them out for like getting a big play out of the way. But we're gonna take Airtie here as just being like, remove your best thing. Maybe you draw a land, maybe you draw another creature. We'll figure that out later. But with Jodah, it'll also cascade, so we'll take that. Okay, so now here's Shivan Reef. Shivan Reef is not a Domain card, importantly, but it does still cast colors, which is just what we need in this deck to a pretty high degree. The other consideration here would maybe be, say, the Academy Wall to hold off the, all the aggression that would happen while we're trying to set up our Jodah. But let's just take Shivan Reef and work our way from there. Again, we're just going to take land super highly. Okay, here's another really good card here for maybe the Domain deck to try and go long is Jodah's Codex. This card, if you set it up correctly, just turns into tap draw a card as an artifact. It's your own personal Howling Mind. But We also maybe want the Geothermal Bog. Oh, it's tough. This card's more fun. And I like to have fun. I'm going to take the Codex. Alright, and then from here, we do have a couple options in the Captain's Call, the Root Weaver, the Mana Worker probably is our best shot here. Or Shadow Prophecy. Shadow Prophecy can help us dig to our good cards. And we're going to try and be base black so we can cast Cruelty of Gix. So let's try that. And here's our wheel. And then Destroy Evil did wheel, which is really nice. But, again, is it just better for us to take this Tributary and just get our mana? We already have 2 red-blue lands, so I think we're actually pretty okay on our blue pips. I mean, we'll never hurt more, but let's get some removal up in here. Okay, here's another legend. We're going to take Aaron Benalia's Ruin, and it kind of works fine with the Captain's Call earlier. If we sack one of these soldiers, we can hopefully get some counters on the other ones and make them stronger. Oh, that's a bit of a punt on my end. Destroy Evil did wheel in this pack as well. I think we'll play one more of these. And then from here, I don't think we're going to play either of these black cards. So we're maybe going to take this red-white card and see if we can get it into our Jodah plan. So we can do the Salvage Mana Worker or the Captain's Call. I don't think I want to play 2 Captain's Call, to be honest. Hey, look, this is a little mini Wrath that can actually help us get our stuff set up. Okay. Pack 3, we open Ivy Gleeful Spell Thief. Now, we are basically Mardu at this point, based on our splashes, so, yeah, we're more blue than red at this point, I would say. Probably not playing Splash to Death. We're probably Esper more than Mardu, but we probably can't play this, and even though it is a legend, it's probably not good enough for our deck, and that's just a 2-1 flyer. We also don't have any cards that we can cast to target it to get good use out of its effect, and so I think we're just going to take like a fine, like, whatever card. It's probably just Resolute Reinforcements. It's just early blockers. Here is, all right, so we got 2 of these tap lands here, 2 of our domain lands. There's also Sulphurous Springs if we wanted to do more of a Rakdos look for our domain. This one doesn't count. But there's also Lightning Strike, which is a good card, and that's about the consideration. So it's just between a land or a Lightning Strike. I don't want to play red cards if I don't have to, especially because I already have 2 Destroy Evils and a Citizen's Arrest, so I think I'm taking a land. It's just more of a question of which one between the red-blue land and the green-white land. I think we're going to take the Rakdos land. I guess I took the Rakdos one last second. Oops. Another Lightning Strike, huh? This is tough. From here, we're just looking to buy time and legends. I think we're looking at another land here. So it's a white-black one or the red-black one. We're definitely more black. I mean, the white-black ones might just be good to have in the sense that it just helps us cast our doubles here. Let's take the white-black land, the marsh here. And now we can take... Ooh, I don't know if we can take this. The double green might do too much. This is our 3rd Lightning Strike in a row. Maybe we should start just picking these things up. We have 1, 2, 3 red sources, and we're only playing 1 other red card. So, I mean, this card's, like, splashable. We're not going to play Phasing of Zhalfir. This card's pretty bad. And none of the other... There are no white and black cards that are worth considering in this pack. So, let's take Lightning Strike. From here... It's just tough with these double... The double reds is just too much, but let's pick up the... The Warhorse is pretty good. You can kick this for white, and it's a 5-mana 3/3 with a 1/1. It's just a fine little deal. I think we're getting pretty good on lands. Here's Karn Living Legacy. We're going to play Karn? Probably not. Does Jodah cascade into... Whenever you cast a legendary spell. This is a legendary spell, so... Does it get... It gets Aaron? And it's finally like a little control shell? I don't know. Did that or the Marius Outrider. Let's try Karn.
Better to fight alongside friends than against them.
From here, we'll take a green-black land over... Which one do we have more? We have a lot of white. Let's get our black lands up, too. And then the black-blue land or the Gibbering Barricade. We have a lot of lands here, so I can't like overpick these lands. But I also just want to cast Jodah, so we also just take this as a big fat boy. We'll try this. Okay, I mean, these lands are coming around for free. How many lands do we have in our pile? We have 9 lands and 34 cards, so we're at like 23 right now. I mean, if we can just fix our mana too, we have our playables more or less. Okay, I mean, we probably shouldn't play any more of this. Let's get some better. These playables are not worth playing. We have plenty of 2-drops for defensive speed. I will play this Mesa Cavalier or the Mangoth Sentry. I'll play the Sentry. Probably not playing this little Vigilance guy. The Root Weaver is fine. It's a bear that can do some things. All right. And our red splash isn't looking nearly as bad now that we have 5 red lands in our pile. And we can maybe even do this double red card, which plays nicely with white cards too. So this is going to be an interesting little build. I'll let you know what I end up picking up on as I finish the build. I'll see you in just a second. All right, here's the build here. I like a lot of the cuts here. I just ended up cutting a lot of the white aggressive cards that we don't necessarily need, being this, this Vanguard helps pump your team when you go wide. We don't really care about that. We're trying to make this game go pretty long here. The Mana Worker, while cute, I think our mana is fine enough with these excessive column of tap lands that we shouldn't need this as a 2-mana 1/3 here. And one of these Root Weavers and then the Sentry here. It's just a 4/4. I'm going to play around with this mana a little bit more. And then just as I was saying this, it's kind of cute if you, with Karn and have this guy out here at the same time. Using the Power Stone token, you can actually just like turn this into a dork, but I think that might be a little too cute. I'll do a couple more tweaks and let you know. All right, so we ended up cutting a mountain for an island just to make sure that our double blue Sky Knight is a little bit more castable on time. I don't think we can keep this hand here. It's our first play is on 4, which just in Modern Limited, even in this set, which is a bit slower than your average Limited set, is just a little too slow for most starts. So let's mulligan here. Ooh, this isn't much better because our mana is pretty bad for this here. One more mulligan, just for good old sake. Let's keep this hand because I can see some good upside here. We're going to keep the Codex, actually, because I think that if we're going to win this game, it's going to be based off of getting our cards back that we're putting at the bottom. So let's run this out here. And we're pretty close to a full domain already. Oh, look who it is. It sucks that, we're still keeping a hand that only plays on 4, and we're against a white-red, but that's fine. We're going to figure it out. We have Lightning Strike to try and deter any early annoyance here. We'll see if that Mesa Cavalier is actually what I'm looking to deter. So we need to draw a land here, but we're just going to end turn. Probably Lightning Strike anything. I'm going to let this Cavalier here through first just in case opponent plays something that is a better strike target. Lo and behold. Let's Lightning Strike this Vanguard here. Pray for a land. Ooh, the Monkey's Paw curls over as you draw a tap land here. It's fine. We have a bunch of tap lands in our deck. We're off green to be able to play our Jodah here. We could go white, blue, black. No green yet. Oh, this is so annoying. Look at this. This destroys an artifact or enchantment, but, it stinks. So the issue here is that, it's kind of an inevitability that we're going to have to play this Sky Knight, but the worst part about this card is it does die to Lightning Strike, which our opponent is representing here. I think for our money, it's just going to be best to play Captain's Call. That way we can defend this Steel Crusher here, even if they enlist it. Still in the green mana waiting room. Plus, if we play this now, they'll likely just destroy it. If we at least draw another land, we can play it, draw, and then that's kind of a 2-for-1. It's a very, very expensive divination, but it also kills this thing, so which is something they're probably very interested in. Another mountain. As soon as we do get the green, though, we can start the... Oh, interesting. So this is probably like Furious Bellow. I'm going to put 2 things in front of it. If he gives it first strike, if they give it first strike, then boo-hoo, I guess. But we got to get this combat trick out of the hand at some point. If they do have it. Oh, heroic charge. Okay. With the kicker. I didn't consider that as much, but... Oh, here's Urtai, which actually could help out a lot here. I think we're just going to pass the turn. Likely we're going to flash in Airtie and kill the Mesa Cavalier, and then try and put the Steel... Or put Airtie in front of the Steel Crusher as well. That way we can set up our Jodah's Codex. Airtie comes in. We're going to destroy a Mesa Cavalier. Take up the shield could be kind of annoying here, but we'll figure it out. Let's block here. Is there anything worth considering? Is there like a +1/+1? Or it'd have to be like +2/+2. Join forces? There's no disadvantage here to blocking here other than, you know, if it's a +1/+0 trick. But I think we're willing to give up the soldier if it meant that we could get rid of join forces. Okay. Sure. But now, Lightning Strike out of the way, I may be more likely to just run out this this Sky Knight here. Another tap land. I just don't think we can sit back for much longer. It's unfortunate, but we just have to play this Tributary tapped here for sure. And we just really got to get this Steel Crusher out of the way so that we can start drawing cards off of our Codex. It's annoying that this is stapled onto here because... You would just love to not have that because you're just going to play this 2/2 anyway. So. Opponent's going to strike in here. Ooh, second thoughts. Here we go again. So, the question is, do we want to block with the Fury Rider or the Steel Crusher? There's definitely an argument to getting rid of the Steel Crusher here. The issue is, like, what series of events needs to happen such that we can come back from this game? And I think it's actually finding a better answer to the Steel Crusher than throwing away our Sky Knight here. I mean, we're going to throw away the Sky Knight regardless, so... let's put it in front of here. Cavalier. The Cavalier is tough, though. That's definitely an argument against what I just did. So... Let's figure this out. Let's go the Shivan Reef so that we can keep as much mana possible. Do we have any 1-mana plays that are worth holding up for? We're taking 3, 6, 8 next turn. I think we're kind of out of luck here. Tough beats. If I'd blocked here, I think we would have lived another turn at least, but we would have lost our other stuff. It's a mold of 5, and they had a strike. I think that was pretty deterministic as is, so... Let's go on to game 2. Hopefully this deck can do a little better. Alright. We're against Lupo Berto. I like this hand much better already, in the sense that at least we have some early answers to with the Artillery Blast. The question is, though, is having 2 uncastables in hand too many? On the draw, too, I feel so burnt after Mulligan last game. I think we do need some more action than this, though. Let's mulligan. Not much better, but at least we can Shadow Prophecy here. Only for 2. Hopefully we get some good lands to cast. Maybe Lightning Strike and Jodah can actually show up on time this time. Maybe the mana base is a little rough around the edges here, but let's figure it out and hopefully do a little better against an opponent here. Leading on a forest. We did draw Cruelty of Gix. This card is busted. Ooh, okay. That's not good. We're gonna need some sort of answer to this pretty fast, because every time a creature comes in, you put a counter on this thing. Yikes. Alright, opponent missed a damage here, so just rip, just choking Miasma. Actually gives everything -2/-2. A little late here, but I think we're just gonna have to take our beats and hope to find some sort of answer here, some sort of white land in Shadow Prophecy. So let's do this. Probably gonna do this end of turn to at least give the illusion of a threat, but opponent has Teamer lands. Okay. There's a kicked Vine Shaper Prodigy, which will come in and look at the top 3 and put 1 into hand. We'll take our beats here. We're hoping to find a white land. Let's see. We're gonna have to take Artillery Blast. I mean, we're gonna have to take both cards. That's just how the card works, I guess. But hey, look it, we got our white land. Let's slow this down hopefully a little bit. And luckily, by exiling this with the Citizen's Rest, it doesn't actually die, so it doesn't give its counters away. So we get to breathe a little easier. Opponent's going to also breathe a little easier by playing a Phyrexian Espionage and get their domain up to 4. They're missing everything but white. It's a little rough that we're missing some land drops here, but I think we're just going to play Aaron here. Aaron blocks the Prodigy pretty well and demands not an answer per se, but at least something. As soon as we get our next land, we can Cruelty of Gix. But if Aaron ends up eating a Lightning Strike, then that's, you know, 3 less damage that my face would have taken. Territorial Morrow. That's a big boy. Drew Karn. Karn doesn't do much for us here, though. We have, unfortunately, already used our hard removal, and we just need to... We just need to hold on a little bit. So, I'm just going to play Karn and plus him, because that's pretty much the only play we had available to us. Most of our cards are uncastable, and the cards that are just don't do anything right now. Opponent has found the 5th domain, so it's definitely going to have to be a block on Aaron here, assuming we don't... Oh, tough beats. Alright. Another bad showing for the deck, but maybe we come back. Took us a little longer to find a game here. Turns out when you're 0-2 in the flashback format, the brackets take quite a long time to find you, and unfortunately this hand is not keepable, so we're going to mulligan here. I like this hand a lot better. For starters, it gives us a full domain here, and after that we get to also play all our spells here. We're going to keep here. Now the question is, what do we throw to the back? It might just be one of these lands here. I don't necessarily need, say, a white-green land, but it also will be nice to hit our land drops to hopefully play our stuffs. But let's throw back the Radiant Grove. We already have the full domain in these 3 lands as is, so we're going to start off on our Haunted Mire, considering we're a black-white deck primarily, and from there we'll play our planes most likely and probably flash in the Resolute Reinforcements end of turn. But there's also an argument for just running out a Tributary against the Swamp. This game's going to go long, so let's do this. This way we can play our Root Weaver next turn, kick it, and just put a 3/3 onto the board. Ooh, Phoenix Chick. Alright. Here come the beats. Let's play a Plains here, and we're just going to kick the Root Weaver. 3/3. Better than nothing. Still dies to Lightning Strike, but dies a little less. Oh well. Blocks of Phyrexian Rage are a lot better. Alright, we're just going to keep drawing some lands here, which is fine. We luckily have plays still. I think it's in our best interest to just play this Tributary because, you know, playing an untapped land doesn't add anything to our lines here. Next turn we can probably double flash if we wanted to, but let's get the Root Weaver in here. At least show our opponent that we mean business, and we'll do some pressure as well. We can also just flash in the Skyrider on attacks here if we wanted to, which is probably what we're going to end up doing, just as an ambusher to this Phoenix chick. The only concern is, you know, what if they have removal? But it would have caught removal either way. Ooh, Jaya. Okay, here comes Jaya. Probably going to make a 1/1.
1,000 years and they never learn not to mess with me. The experience will do you good.
All right, lucky for us, they did everything they needed to pre-combat, so we're just gonna flash this in and get rid of the Phoenix chick for now. From here, we're gonna have to start chipping away at this Jaya. She's gonna be a problem if we don't get rid of her soon. So let's just throw both of our creatures here. We're likely gonna catch a block from the monk. That's fine. Now we're going to play this Warhorse and kick it, giving us a 1/1 in addition to everything else. This thing blocks the Rager fine, and if the opponent wants to -2 Jaya to make it a trade, I think we'll be fine with that. Hopefully we draw one of our nice engines at the end here, either Jodah or Aaron or something that gets us cards back here, because we are pretty committal to this play right here. And there is a red sweeper, so hopefully we don't end up on the poor end of that. There's another monk.
Get out there and blaze a path.
Opponent has to attack with 2 creatures, 3 or more creatures to get this chick back, so we're still doing okay, assuming no hasters, and even if there is a haster, it's still double red. I don't know how many black hasters there are in this format, but, well, here you go. Well, let's think. Red combat trick, just a red. I don't know if there's the Flowstone infusion. Flowstone infusion's a little rough if we end up trading a Flowstone for the Warhorse here. I think we might just let this through. We got the life to do it, so. Okay. Now we have the Wrath, so at least we can catch up if that's what we want to do. Let's definitely send some creatures towards Jaya. We could also... No, we can't kick this yet because both of our black are... our other black is tied in with this green source here. But let's get some creatures at Jaya. We're just going to have to attack here. I think we like these blocks here. They're pretty good for us, assuming no,
You lack sizzle.
This is fine here. I mean, we just took 2 creatures off the board, and Jaya still took 2 damage, so we'll probably... it's tough. Probably just take another 2/1 worth of damage here from the Lagomos. There's Goblin Picker, which can rummage away cards, which will help opponent find their best cards here. A little annoying, but the nice thing is there's not a lot of spiky cards other than, say, Shieldred, which opponent, I guess, technically is representing here, but we're just going to assume the best, that they did not open Shieldred, and we will be able to work our way from there. Just Thrill of Possibilities, discarding a Flowstone Kabu. Another mountain. Opponent still has this Phoenix chick in the graveyard, which is just, you know, important to note. Oh, interesting.
Round 2, just let me catch my breath.
So, opponent is going to have to attack with Lagomos if they want to, if they do want to kill my Skyrider here. Okay. We're going to flash in the Resolute Reinforcements. I think we're going to triple block Lagomos because we'd happily trade one of our 1/1s for... Although, did they draw the Flowstone Infusion? If they did, that's kind of a beat, but... We're pretty happy with that exchange. Here's Citizen's Arrest. It's not castable yet, so that's a little unfortunate. What we're going to do now is probably just beat in here. They're probably going to block one of our soldiers here, and we're just going to sack it with the horse. Alright, they're just going to let us through. From here, we're just going to go land, go. We're winning this race handedly right now. Assuming no crazy stuff goes on. The writhing necromass. It's kind of annoying. Hopefully we can get a white land in soon, but now we're going to have to send in just the horse here. How much did they pay for this? 3 mana? Pretty good deal. A Rager. Okay. So, the board's a bit gummed up now. We have our Sky Knight here. If we do this, we still have the mana to sacrifice a soldier if need be. But we're going to play our Sky Knight, which will help us kind of get, hopefully, these last couple points in. And I think we're going to hold back now. I don't think our attacks are incredible. Maybe attacking with the horse was correct. Probably was. So this is kicked. And opponent is going to return a card with mana 3 or less from their graveyard for the turn. Now, this is before combat, so they are going to get the chunky guy. So let's see what happens here. A little loot here. 2/1 elemental. So, both of these are going to die at end of turn, but we also have, like, fine blocks for this, so I'm not too concerned. We could, opponent has 2 mana here. Just block is, yeah. They just had to attack there because why wouldn't they, you know? Ooh, Lightning Strike is going to help the math out on this a lot, so let's get the Sky Knight. Which means we're now in range of, probably lethal there, on retrospect. I'm going to slow down a little bit. I think, it only blocks so many of these here, and if any of these get in, then the Lightning Strike is lethal damage. So, let's see if they tap the picker again on their turn. It's not very smart because it makes the blocking portion of this a little bit harder. Alright, they tapped for that. Any other creatures? Oh, attacks. Interesting. So, we have to be worried about, there's a +2/+0, which turns us into 8. If opponent does that and then has Lightning Strike as well, then I think we can also just let these through, and if they come through and something suspicious happens, we can just Lightning Strike the creature that is causing problems. So, pass the damage, take 4. An Outrider. It's a little annoying, but again, if we get even 1 point of damage in here, especially because opponent is tapped out now, we are doing, we're going to kill them with the Lightning Strike. So let's untap here. We also now have Choking Miasma, if that's an avenue we want to travel, but let's just, they only have 3 blockers, so something's going to get through. They're going to have to block the horse and the knight for sure. And then so at least one of these soldiers are getting through. It's going to be unfortunate that we win this game. The first game we win is going to be one where we don't even draw Jodah. 2 soldiers are getting through. I'm just going to Lightning Strike opponent's face and get our extra 1/1 now while we still have our guy. And in case for some reason they pitch some sort of Modern Horizons Elemental and wipe the board or something. Let's go to the next game. All right. Another opponent here. We're up against Cap. Just Cap. All right. This hand is fine. We have 2 playables based on our tap lands. It's an all tap land hand, but we can work our way through this, and we have the inroads to cast the Sky Knight here because we have triple blue at this point. So doing just fine there. A couple colors off from Jodah, but we have the green-black land and some other swamp-related stuff based on the fact that we wanted to cast our Cruelty of Gix. So we're not terribly far off. We just need a little bit of work. And an opponent's on a mulligan, so maybe luck's finally catching up to us. But I ought to knock on some wood now. Opponent down to 6, which means not a lot, but based on if they're aggro, we have 1 less threat to deal with possibly, or if they're domain, we're about an equal starting card. And if there's somewhere in between that, we'll figure out as we go. I was going to start on a Swamp and an Evolved Sleeper. This card's pretty good. But we're going to have an Artillery Blast to hopefully get rid of it soon-ish. We're going to tap land and 1 more tap land here. Evolved Sleeper is a pretty dangerous threat on 1. But this is going to deal 3 damage eventually, so they're going to have to boost this up a little high if they want to beat down with the Blast. Hero's Heirloom. We'll take 1. Draw Air Tie. We're going to play our tap land and pass. We would like to... Let's see how this goes. So, in the chance that they equip the Heirloom, and then they leave up black to boost this to a 2-2, it'll be a 4-3, which Artillery Blast can still deal with, and they would have to tap out for. But they're going to play the Gibbering Barricade. From there, we have to decide whether or not we want to Lightning Strike this or Artillery Blast it. Let's Artillery Blast here. We're going to get a little extra flexibility out of Lightning Strike in the long run. Ooh, here's a Radiant Grove, which puts us only 1 color off from Jodah. We have the Skyrider, if they try to do anything silly, and Lightning Strike as well. Equipping the Hero's Heirloom to the Defender is not that impressive, all things considered. We're off black, which also turns off Air Tie at the moment, but here comes a automatic Librarian. It's automatic. This thing's a little small for a 3-2. Look at this. There's a whole human right behind it. How is this thing going to brawl with the likes of beasts and soldiers and come out unscathed? Double top, which is a little concerning. The question is, at end of turn, do we want to flash in our Skyrider? It's a tough choice, but we're off enough from the kicker that I think it's correct for us to do so. Okay, we draw the Tory Devant, which is playable here, and I'm not very interested in Lightning Striking right now, so I think we're just going to run out this Tory here. And it's probably correct for us to get in here. Let's see what opponent drew, such that they would like to scry top twice. It's got to be some pretty good cards. We still do have a couple legends in the deck to hopefully fetch off of Jodah once we get a black land. And again, we're pretty alive to draw a black land in the sense that... Alright, so here comes Citizen's Arrest. We're alive to draw the black source because we're mainly black-white here. Librarian will get in for 3. It's a blue land. Not the best here, but we can play the Sky Knight and then have the Lightning Strike up next turn for getting the Librarian out of here or something like that. Even if they equip that, Lightning Strike can push past that. We have a Destroy Evil in the deck, so there's a good chance that this Citizen's Arrest will leave later on. Only 1 playable left in hand, being this Lightning Strike until we draw a black land, which is one of the pains of playing 5 colors. You know, you don't always get the lands you want. But all in due time. Here comes the equip. Eelis Core, Sadistic Pilgrim. We would have liked one of those in our deck as a 2-drop legend that also gained us life at some point. So, question is, do we want to block? I'm going to say no. I don't think we want to block here. And there's our black land. So, let's, while they're tapped out, I'm a little scared of Take Up the Shield or something along those lines. Let's, Lightning Strike. Question is, this gives it Trample and Haste. I don't really control it, so by killing this, we're gonna lose a life, but that's fine for the most part. The question is how are we going to deal with the Sadistic Pilgrim in just a moment? And we have Jodah / Airtie coming in at some point soon. So let's run out the Lightning Strike. Opponent's tapped out, so we'll get our 1/1 soldier off the Sky Knight. Lose a life from the core. We want to attack with one or both. We're kind of in a pretty good position to race, so let's attack here. Getting it trample's a little annoying, but worst comes to worst, we might just Airtie next turn if things are looking a little scary. It's kind of hard to race this card, to be honest. Every time something they have enter, they gain a life, and every time we lose. Come on, man. I would just want to play my card. We'll Jodah someone. I hope. Why did the opponent even concede last game? It didn't seem like they were losing that bad. Another case of a hand that we just can't keep. None of our cards are castable at the moment, and they're not trending to become castable at any point either. So that's going to be a mulligan. Hopefully we can do a little better than that. Plus, we drew a lot of our legends, and we kind of don't even want to draw our legends in this deck. We'd much rather cascade into them. But let's see what opponent Fanga does here. We're going to mulligan. I mean, this hand's also pretty bad. We have a decent amount of white sources in the deck. It's just a matter of can we draw into a single one of them? Or a black source, so at least we can catch up against aggro. Let's keep this. We're going to get rid of the Captain's Call here and pray for a white source. Hey, Sunlit Marsh. We're unable to kick this, or kick the Root Weaver as it stands right now, so I think it's in our best interest to just play it out. So let's play Sulphurous Springs and a Root Weaver here, just to do some blocking. We also now have Choking Miasma off of our lands here. Let's see, why is this View Browser thing here? See my opening hand that I can keep at any time. How strange. I have this intrinsic desire to just click it. Okay, I'm gonna block here. If they have a combat trick, then we'll live. Here's the Flowstone Kabu. Okay, we're not terribly far off from casting this thing. Actually, we can do it next turn. We go tap land here, play our swamp next turn, and we have red, red, white. We'll have to take a pain for it, but again, we just kind of want to be able to block here. We'll take 3. And opponent will play us Cleaving Skyrider. I don't think we're in the market just yet to run out the Choking Miasma here. The other argument, now that we have this Artillery Blast, is to try and use this and then set up for Codex next turn. It's a little slow in the sense of we're not getting on board for a couple turns. We're affecting the board at least by playing Artillery Blast, but I think this thing doesn't block either of his creatures either, the opponent's. I'm just going to play this tap land and pass the turn. I think we can get a little more value out of our Choking Miasma here. We're green away from being able to kick this, but let's just hope they play something like a Argothian Cavalier would be like the dream scenario. That's a little less dreamy. I also didn't kill anything, which is annoying, but let's play the artillery blast here. Ooh, Warhorse. Warhorse is nice, and we can kick it without taking any pain. We want to affect the board here. We're not at a safe state of the game yet where we can confidently play this codex and start drawing cards off of it just yet. They didn't have a combat trick at the beginning of the game. I don't know if they were... All right. Taking our beats. No real reason to block here. We would still take the trample damage anyway. Draw planes. Let's see. What needs to happen here that we don't die? I hate asking this question. I would think that opponent would have to do some amount of blocking here. Or we would have to block their Fury Rider and take... But they wouldn't even attack with their Fury Rider if we had our own. They would just enlist it with the Faith Bonder. Let's attack with our Soldier. We're not blocking with it, all things considered. They're probably just going to let it through. I mean... Yeah, alright. And that's the correct thing to do. We can't really live if we don't deal with the Fury Rider or anything, so let's just play a Fury Rider of our own and hope that they're lacking in extra lightning strikes to get rid of this. Okay, full attack is out. We're gonna block here. Pray that tough beats. I think that we played mostly to the best of our ability there. Even keeping that hand was fine, but it's just too slow. The deck was a little too slow. So a 2 and 3, not our best outing, but we'll get at it. We'll get at it again soon. All right, thank you for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next draft. Probably gonna move back to Bloomburrow here. The queues were actually brutal from behind the scenes perspective. We were waiting about 5 minutes for a draft queue and about a minute a game. So expect some more Bloomburrow going into this, and excited for Duskmorn.